What's going on, everyone? Scott here. Welcome back to the channel. So, Michigan State basketball heads on the road to Penn State to play their second Big Ten game of the season and last one before we head into this Christmas break, non-conference part of the schedule until the new year, and then pick up with the remaining 18 games of the Big Ten season come January. Now, in this one, obviously, Michigan State coming off a tough home loss to Duke last Saturday, so you had a week off for finals and everything this past week, but a tough loss to Duke, and you honestly didn't drop as far as I thought they might drop. And I think that's the respect for both Michigan State and for the type of team that Duke is. I mean, that's obviously one of the best, 2, 3 teams in the country. Clearly, we saw that coming into the Breslin Center like that. So Michigan State currently ranked number 9. And on the year, still 8-1. Penn State on the year 8-2, coming off of a big loss to Indiana in their first Big Ten game of the year at Indiana, 113-72 loss in that one. But they're still 8-2 on the year. Their only other loss on the year was to Providence, 77-65 earlier this year. But before we do jump into this matchup, if you could just hit that like and subscribe button down there. We'll have more Michigan State basketball content on the channel, so just make sure to subscribe so you don't miss a video. So let's jump into the Penn State team here. Caden Mingo, guard for them, leading them in scoring, 15, 4 rebounds, 4 assists, 2 steals overall. Freddie DeLone, the fifth, 13, 4 rebounds, 2 assists, and a steal overall, 39% from the 3-point line overall. Mela Tunka, 13 points for them as well, 46% from 3 as well. And he's one of their top 3-point attempt takers as well, towards the top for them. Josh Reed, 10 points, 4 rebounds. Ivan Jurkic, about 10 and 4 for them. He is their leading rebounder. Overall, as a team, I mean, they score 82 points a game, is pretty solid overall, right around where, that's about 6 more points than Michigan State has. Obviously, when you look at their schedule, it hasn't been as tough as Michigan State has, but that's still solid overall. Rebounding, they don't really rebound it that well, only about 32 rebounds a game, 14 assists, 8 steals, only 1.4 blocks per game, turn it over about 9 times, 50% from the field, 71% from the free throw line, 37% overall from the 3-point range. Now, overall in this one, when you look at their roster for Penn State, they do have 2 7-footers on the team. Ivan Jurkic, 7-foot, Justin Hauser as well. They have 6'10" Sasa Siani on the team as well, but you don't really see that in the blocks overall. Like I said, only about 1 block. Michigan State averages about 4.7 overall, but I'm curious in this one. I think this one, you're going to want Michigan State, as they do, to kind of just get into the paint. Like, obviously, they defend, rebound, run, yes, but get into the paint. And, we saw, especially last game, the game that, Jackson Kohler and Carson Cooper had. Like, Jackson Kohler, a lot of what he did, obviously, was those 4 threes the first half against Duke to kind of keep them in, to kind of get Michigan State going in that one. But the game that Carson Cooper had, 16 and 16, one of his best game as a Spartan overall, that was very impressive. And, overall, I think that's something that Michigan State's going to have to, do in this one. You want to get in the paint, kind of establish that as well. But then you do that and you set up more opportunities for threes. And 3-point attempts and percentage wise, that wasn't the problem against Duke. It was finishing at the rim and layups, missed shots and whatnot, close missed shots. I don't have a big problem with the 3-point, percentage for Michigan State so far right now. They're sitting at about 34%, which that's what I was asking for before the year. Overall, the turnover is about 11. And in that Duke game, that wasn't a problem either. So, just kind of controlling the pace of the game. Jeremy Fears still leading everything, 9.8 assists per game on the year. Overall, you're sitting at about 19 as a team. You want that to continue. And when you look at Penn State, obviously only 32 about rebounds a game. You're averaging about 42. So you expect to dominate on the glass in this one. And you're going to want to do that, just kind of establish that. And, obviously this is a big game. You want to get to 2-0 start in the Big Ten play, and especially coming off a loss in a game that you felt like you played really good for 35 minutes, just a few small mistakes cost you a top 4 win at home. So you want to get back, especially after a week off, and get this thing back rolling after that one game. But Penn State overall, 19th in assist to turnover ratio. They're tied for 75th in fast break points, so run it a little bit, not too much overall. And when you look at some of the other numbers for Penn State overall, and you look at their adjusted tempo, they're about 215th, so a little bit on the back half of middle of the pack overall. Assist rate 279th. But overall, when we look at Bart Torvik has Penn State as the number 110 team in the country, 70th adjusted efficiency offense, 192nd adjusted efficiency defense. You want to attack that for Michigan State. They're about 40th in effective field goal percentage, and they rank 6th overall in turnover percentage offensively in the country. Now, when you look at Michigan State, as we said, they dropped to number 9 in the country. Bart Torvik has them at number 10 currently overall, 34th adjusted efficiency offense, staying right there, and then they are 3rd in adjusted efficiency defense, so still right there overall. And back up after kind of dropping for a couple games to like 6 or 7, somewhere in there. Assist rate is back up to number 2 overall. Now, Bart Torvik has this as a 76-65 Michigan State win. So obviously you want to start 2-0 in the Big Ten. You want to get back after a tough loss at home in which you felt like you played good enough to win. And then when you look at the schedule kind of after this, you got Toledo at home, you go to LCA to play Oakland, you have Cornell at home, and then you start Big Ten play back up right at the turn of the new year, heading to Nebraska, then having USC and Northwestern Indiana coming in to start the new year as we move into the rest of the Big Ten slate. But this one you want to win, and you want to get back on track after a tough one last Saturday. But anyway, that'll do it for this one. Kind of just a peek behind the curtain here. Heading out of town for about 8 or so days. So this is very pre-recorded this week. So we probably won't have an immediate reaction to this game because we'll be on a boat in the middle of the ocean. So don't know how that's going to go. I'm going to trying to set it up to be able to watch this and maybe just upload a kind of very, rough video, put up, kind of reaction to this game. But if not, we'll kind of talk about these, this how it'll be for the Toledo game and the Oakland game as well. If not, we'll kind of talk about those once we get back next Saturday. We get back the day of the Oakland game. So we'll talk about everything when we get back, but trying to set it up where we can maybe still be in contact while in the middle of the ocean. But anyway, that'll do it for this one. Thank you all so much for watching. We'll see you in the next one. Peace out.